Hello guys, this is the HaloDoctor here, hope you're doing well. Got another puzzle video for you today. This is Oddball Live Fire and it's EUnited against Optic Gaming at HCS Kansas City 2022. We've got 5 Oddball related puzzles for you today, so let's jump in straight away to puzzle number 1. Alright, we're on board with Nick from EUnited. We're going to switch to Trippy from Optic and we're going to pause about here. So what should Trippy do here, guys? In prior videos, I was describing the scene for you. So I was giving you an outline of the position, what's happened, what's happening on the map. But that is not what happens in chess puzzles, which is my background. In chess puzzles, you're left to figure out the position, the advantages, the disadvantages, weaknesses, and the ideas for yourself. This then obviously improves your positional understanding personally and hones it. So from this video on and at each pause point, I'm no longer going to spoon feed the information to you about what's happening on the screen. Rather, when you pause, the idea is what you'll be doing is you'll be taking all the information on the HUD and what's on the screen into account for yourself to make the best and most informed decision you can possible. So that being said, please pause the video right now, take everything that's happening on screen into account and decide what you think is the right play for Trippy to make. Okay, so here we go.
Like you said, Nick off to a hot start.
We said we're going to compare the setup times, and if you wanted to know how tight this series is going to be, 25 seconds, EUnited 24 to Optic on their first ball hold.
Okay, so that is what happened, guys. Of course, due to Optic's numerical advantage, Trippy, rather than taking the oddball initially, wants to stack his team's advantages for their next oddball hold. So naturally he heads over to the power-up and he picks up the freshly spawning overshield, and only then does he head back to the objective, the oddball, to endeavour to secure a hold with his team. Often if a team is even one player down, as Optic are here, they might not opt, no pun intended, to hold the oddball. But because Trippy's got overshield, it's a bit of an exception. And the reason I think this little clip is so helpful, because so often in matchmaking, I see a power-up coming up, or a power weapon just having spawned, and you see people still running for the objective and allowing the enemy to come and grab that power up or power weapon and get an advantage, so that when they do, 1, push your oddball hold, they are basically guaranteed to get the oddball and slay you all out, and 2, they're then left with a bit more of a power up or potentially a full sniper or nearly full sniper for their next oddball hold. So real simple little example there from the start. If there's the option between objective and something that gives you an advantage on the map, get the advantage before you get the objective. Now that's not always going to be the case, but it is the case a lot of the time. Okay guys, on to puzzle number 2 now. EU have just broken Optic setup and I'm going to pause the game here. Now I did say I wasn't going to give you any information, but I am going to give you a tiny bit of information here. When EUnited broke Optic's setup there, one player did die. That was Noob. He just respawned. You can see the icon right over in the left on Sparty's name here. You may not have noticed that, so I thought it was important to point that out. So have a careful look at the HUD and think about how you would set up here for a hold. Pause the video now and think about the best thing to do for EUnited as a team. What should their plan be, and what should Nick do as well? Okay, and this is what happens.
Will clean up that final player. I mean, you've got to kind of give a huge amount of credit to EUnited there. Optic tried to face them 3v3 on that push, and
that is an amazing demonstration of what can often set apart pro teams from just players in matchmaking so often. Because so often in matchmaking, you see Spartan pick up the ball by scoreboard there. So often you'd see players just go for the A hold. Just chuck the ball back into A, hold it there. But EU recognised that because Noob just spawned at C, the Optic would all be spawning at B, and therefore be pushing through garage and up sandbags. Now this is a huge realisation by EU, and so instead they opt to pick the ball up and run it towards power up and dummies and C to buy them even more ball time. Rain runs up to sandbags, and Nick, who has heat wave, runs into A, because the heat wave is better in close quarters fights. It does better in A than it does up at sandbags. What Nick and Rain are doing is they're buying time for Spartan, who's the ball player, to get themselves more points on the board, and they're trying to endeavour to secure more map control too. What I'm sure is also extremely important to both of them as well is that if they get into a fight, is that they don't just die straight away. Maybe they get one pick, but at very least they trade. Again, that slows Optic's push and also affords their team more ball time. But you can see here, Nick has run into 3 players. Madness. Trippy, APG and Formal all bearing down on him just inside garage here. This is a bit crazy. If you were Nick, what on earth would you do in this scenario? Pause the video here. Let's take the clip right back just before Nick gets into this fight and have a look what he does.
Tried to face them 3v3 on that push.
Yeah, he backs off a bit, and then he pushes out again from behind the pillar to try and secure a trade. I mean, that is the least he's got to do in that situation. I gave you a clue a minute ago, didn't I? Get a trade. So brilliant play by Nick there to slow Optic's push, and now great play from Rain, and I think help from Ryanoob as well. Take out Lucid there, and then Rain pushes up through, just lives as well, slows down Optic's push so that EU can get more ball time. Very nice. Okay, so we've jumped forward in the game to a different scenario, one focusing on Optic. They just grabbed the ball, which didn't get played at back C, and we're looking at the clip from APG's point of view. I will say, because it's not that apparent from here, that EU are pushing Optic from B tunnels and from C nest bridge. So, what should Optic's plan be in this situation, and how should APG play out this very difficult situation where he has a height disadvantage? So, pause now and have a think about what you would do. Okay, let's go. Okay, so there we go. Some good living from Lucid at the end there. So the first thing you see when Optic realises they're under a bit of pressure is that they play the ball into somewhere vulnerable. Because when you're under attack, there's no point holding on to the ball if your team around you are just going to die and then you also are killed. And the reason is, guys, is because in Oddball, it's a 10-second respawn timer when you die. 10 seconds. That's a really long time. That is a free 10 Oddball points for the other team, and another free 5 to 10 seconds of points on top of that as they try to get to you off spawn as well. So, when you're aggressed as a team, if you're the Oddball player, consider dropping the ball in a vulnerable position. So if you're the ball player, recognise when you need to drop the ball, and ideally drop it in places that are out in the open or off the map. Notice Optic drop it in this vulnerable spot here, just under pillars. What EU would have to do is to try to push through that tiny doorway to get the ball, so they're being pinned into a bottleneck and are easy nade targets. Ultimately though, APG tried to push around and support that B pillar door. Maybe the C call out kind of caught him in 2 minds there. But still, Optic come out of this situation in a 1v1 with Lucid against Ryanoob, and Trippy and Nick just spawning up. Notice as well how Formal chucked the ball one way and ran the other, using the ball as a sort of decoy as well. Alright guys, that was puzzle 4. On to the final puzzle, puzzle 5. So EUnited won round 1, and now we're on to round 2. As you can see, Optic have got the ball in their possession. You might not know they just team wiped EUnited. Ryanoob's just respawned. Pause the video now and have a think, taking in all the information you see on the HUD, and try and figure out what Optic's plan should be and what Lucid's plan should be specifically as well. Alright, pause it now. And here we go.
Has the ball in his hand, and Optic go into a lead.
That will be a lead change, as you say. Now 29-24. Optic once again off of the back of that overshield grab, getting 4 dead for EUnited. That's something EUnited cannot afford if they want to close this game out. To be honest, they want to do it right here, right now. They do not want to go to a round number 3.
They're going to be taken down. This time Lucid wins that battle from sandbags to tower. Sniper rifle going to be popping up in a few moments as well, so we'll have to see if Optic Gaming do make a move on that. Formal's trying to pressurize the spawns by... Well, while all this is going down here, Andy, you can see that Optic are just racking up time. They've crossed 50 points now. They're doubling up on EUnited.
That's right. TikTok goes the clock. All 4 players spawning in the back. Lucid just shooting once again.
And there we go, guys. Devastating little hold from Optic there. That was top quality. So at the start of the clip, you will have seen the APG just spawned nest, or B. You can tell that by the little cursor on the left-hand side of the screen. Because the ball was at C, Optic will have known that EUnited will have been spawning at A, maybe around the scoreboard area. So what they decide to do is to take the ball to B so that EUnited can't just all push up dummies and cuts. This then forces them to either go up scoreboard, over onto sandbags, or they've got to go round through A and garage. Lucid knows this, and so what he does is that he uses his repulsor to quickly get up to C, and what he will do is he'll watch the cross down sandbags and down towards dummies as well. As soon as EUnited realise what Lucid is doing, they change their plan to try and gain more map control, because right now Optic have got B and C, and it's going to be hard for them to push in from A to B without Lucid shooting them across the map. So they then send a few players to try and take him out at tower. However, they all get weak or die. This then wastes more time for EUnited, allowing Optic Gaming to have more ball time. What Lucid going to C also does is it means that they can predict EUnited spawns at A. Whereas if Lucid went to B as well, EUnited could be spawning A and C. And that means they've got to try and defend B from 2 angles, which is much harder than trying to defend it from 1 angle. I actually have a video about this and Oddball. That's in a card in the top right hand corner right now. Some good news as well, guys. You might have heard in the last video I'm going to be putting out one of these Halo puzzle videos per week. So please do subscribe to see the next one, which will be a Strongholds video. And if you haven't seen my introductory video yet to Halo puzzles, please check that out. That is going to be in the top left right now. I would love to hear from you as well in the comments below about what you think of these videos. Are they helpful? Is there anything else that could be done to make them a little bit more instructive or informative? Also, how easy or hard you think it is to kind of understand these concepts. And finally, if you learn anything from this video at all or like it in any way, shape or form, please smash that like button because it makes my day. Have a good one, guys. Hope this has helped your Oddball, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.